There's no point protecting animals in zoos without protecting habitats. There's also no point in doing all of that work if we don't educate and inspire humans.
It is about inspiring those next generation of conservationists.
We can all work together to save a species, whether that's in a zoo-based environment or in the field.
Everything we're doing is contributing towards conservation.
Twycross is what we call a conservation zoo, which means we're set up as a conservation charity. Over 90% of our income comes from visitors coming to us, and all of that money gets ploughed into conservation work that we do either here in the zoo or in projects around the world.
It would be boring if all zoos had the same animals. It's really good to have a nice variety. We've got quite a clear strategy of why we would choose to have a species or why they're here.
And EP stands for EASA Ex Situ Programme. It's really a mechanism whereby zoos from many different countries around Europe work together to protect and to create an insurance population of a particular species. They will create the best practice guidelines, which are then shared with all of the zoos that have that species, that really show how we should be best keeping this particular species in a zoo.
There's a direct link between skills that are built in the zoo and the need for them in conservation projects.
We are very focused on maintaining insurance populations of species that are threatened with extinction. We absolutely don't take any of those animals from the wild. What we focus on now is working with other zoos around Europe and around the world to make sure that we've got a big enough gene pool so that we can maintain a genetically and demographically healthy population. They're there to kind of protect the future of some of these endangered species. Being connected to nature is really important. Evidence shows nature connectedness increases and enables people to take pro-environmental behaviours. Zoos are so important in making sure that people get that opportunity to really be engaged with nature, engaged with wildlife.
So I oversee all of the education that happens at the zoo. A lot of the children come from inner city schools who actually have very low nature connectedness. So we have a great opportunity to expose them to wildlife, expose them to conservation. We try and kind of make conservation relevant to them. About 90,000 people attended our talks last year.
At Twycross, we record the number of meaningful conversations that we have with our guests. And this is a really nice way of distinguishing between the times when our teams engage with people versus the times where we really talk about conservation.
It's really important that the team are really passionate about what they do, and that then rubs off onto the guests.
Animals can have a great life in zoos, and at Twycross Zoo we make that happen here.
I'm currently cutting some willow browse for our eastern black rhino.
By providing daily enrichment to enhance natural behaviours.
It's one of their favourite foods.
We monitor their care to the highest ability that we can.
We have learned over decades, and we have learned from collaboration with other zoos, how we can ensure that animals have got a high level of welfare in a zoo. We assess the welfare of every single animal every year.
It's about making sure that our animals are happy and healthy, essentially. We look for abnormal behaviours, we look at activity budget. It's really important that we're looking for positive indicators and also that we're seeing an increase in those as we're making these changes to improve animal welfare. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I didn't know that what we were doing was helping them and that they were in a situation where they were as best cared for as possible. We have the evidence to back that up as well. It's, really important.
We're also working with universities to bring in other elements of expertise that we might not have. For example, looking at the soundscape that an animal is existing in and whether or not there are any noises or anything that we can't hear ourselves that might be impacting their welfare.
Twycross Zoo is part of the Great Ape Park project. Here we're able to monitor any heart conditions that we have with our great apes. We ask the apes to present fingers onto a cardiomobile device. They'll sit there with their fingertips on it for up to a minute, and that records the rhythm of their heart. It's all voluntary, it's all on their terms. If they don't want to do it, they don't have to. I think it's really good for science, for research, for their own health, that we're able to provide this care.
Zoos have that kind of overarching picture because we can have the animals in the zoo and we can support ex situ breeding. We can also work with global partners. But then we also have over 700,000 people who come to our zoo every year.
I actually don't think that zoos do a good enough job shouting about all the fantastic science and research that they do. Some really exciting work that we've had going on over the last 12 months has been a project involving Western African chimpanzees. This project was looking at using environmental DNA to assess and monitor the population of wild Western African chimpanzees in Guinea-Bissau.
We would do multiple transects across the week, looking at eDNA sampling in the soil and air. This could be a crucial part of monitoring wild chimps.
It's a huge number of research projects that Biaza Zoos are contributing to. We should be conducting research that's multi-institutional, so it's us working as a community to address the research questions that we have. We can truly inspire and train those next generation of conservation scientists, and we have the power to do that here at Twycross.
Zoos are the only place where you get wildlife and then so many humans in the same space. We have such a fantastic opportunity to really engage children all the way up to grandparents in animals and wildlife. They get to see species that they probably would never see in their lives otherwise if they didn't see them in the zoo. We're using our expertise to train the next generations. They are then being inspired, seeing these animals.
The conservation work is a key part of our mission to protect species not only in the zoo but also in the wild. So we've got projects kind of all around the world. We work with Borneo Nature Foundation in Indonesia on orangutan conservation, so that's focused on education and engagement with local communities. And we also work with Wild Tracks in Belize, rescuing, rehabilitating and releasing howler monkeys and spider monkeys. We also support Amazonia lilacina in Ecuador, so that's a project looking at the Ecuadorian Amazon parrot. Got a growing portfolio of work at home in the UK. We're really lucky in that we've got a 4-hectare wetland nature reserve, so we're actively creating and then protecting habitats on site.
British wildlife is really underappreciated. There's so much of it, it's fantastic. We have so many different species in the UK and it really needs our help at the moment. We've got lots of different species here. Owls, harvest mice, loads of different butterfly species, amphibians, reptiles. Also, we're working on reintroductions. We're doing a moth reintroduction at the moment called the Kentish Glory Moth Project.
The Kentish Glory moth, which is a moth that is extinct in England. It's still found in some populations in Scotland and in Europe, but we're working with Butterfly Conservation, Natural England and Forestry England to see how we can bring it back.
Twycross Zoo has pledged to actively manage 30% of the site for native species by 2030. We've already got 10% of this in the nature reserve as we speak, so yeah, there's quite a lot going on.
Well, zoos do an amazing amount of conservation work. They donate and spend an awful lot of money looking after animals in the wild, looking after habitats, ecosystems and communities.
54% of the species that we keep at Twycross are classified as threatened with extinction based on their IUCN Red List.
Reverse Red is a partnership coordinated by WASA and others. They invite people to make these species pledges to have an impact on the conservation of a species by 2030. The species pledges are being done by organisations around the world. We set to reverse the decline of 15 species by 2030. More broadly, we want to increase our conservation impact, so getting more heavily involved in conservation projects, also increasing the amount of resources we're putting into these conservation projects.
I think it's really important to be optimistic about the future. It's so important that we tell those real success stories.
It's all about education, conservation. It's educating the visitors, the public that come to see us, why these animals are important.
Zoos are massively important for conservation.
It's really important to us that we excel, that we always are a step above.
There's not many places where you have leaders in so many different fields under one roof.
We can't look after every single species on the planet. What we want to do is empower you to try and help them yourself in the wild.